Okay, if you're just joining us, we're talking to Nikki Cortez today. We're talking about how when your ex gets custody of your child, what do you do? What kind of ramifications do you have? Where can you go? How do you keep fighting? Okay, so he just got his orders, and then what happened?
He just got his orders, and the police told me that they were going to have to let him go with her because he had already filed for divorce, and I had no idea.
But he filed for divorce, but that doesn't give him legal custody to take her away from you, does it?
No, he also, he also had a restraining order on me.
How did he have a restraining order on you?
That's what I want to know. I don't understand how that could have even happened. And prior to this, we've already had problems in Okinawa, Japan. You know, he spent 3 months in the barracks. I mean, his supervisor, his first sergeant, his chain of command knew he had an affair with this one person.
So did you go to the police at that time and get a restraining order on him?
No. And I should have, but I just didn't have the heart to do that. Because I mean, I had no idea about any legal situations.
Doesn't he have to have some kind of proof to get a restraining order on you? Or can anybody just take a restraining order out?
I believe anybody can just take a restraining order out. I mean, there's not really much.
And so that's why the police said, well, he can go ahead and take your daughter because you have a restraining order against you and he doesn't have one on him?
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that this was all psychological of him to try? He was planning, it was very planned out, I'm going to do this, and then if I don't get a restraining order, then maybe if the police come, they'll...
Yes, he's very manipulative on everybody, yes, he plans ahead.
So what happened when you found out that your daughter is going with him now? What did you do?
Well, I had no choice. I had to go ahead and let her go. I just packed what she had, and I was gonna just let her go. He offered to give us some time to visit with her.
How much time? What's time? A day? 30 minutes? How much time?
An hour.
He gave you an hour. Wow, a whole hour, huh? And then, how was your daughter reacting to all of this? I mean, she probably was scared and confused and didn't have any idea what was going on.
No, she didn't. Well, the reason why she wanted to go with him is because he told her he was gonna buy her Barbies. And she, you know, children are children.
To manipulate, yeah. Unfortunately,
yeah.
She doesn't know any better. And so, how did you find out that that he actually was no longer in the city and he was taking her away? Did he say, I'm taking her away?
Yes, after that 1 hour at Cuellar Park is exactly where we went. He offered me one last chance to get back with him, and I told him I couldn't. After 12 and a half years of everything, I just couldn't.
But that was strong. That was good that you didn't do that. How difficult was it for you to make that decision?
Very, because I knew my daughter. I just didn't know what was going to happen from that point.
And so did you feel in a way that you had to give her up to get part of you back?
Yeah.
And so he took off for 2 years, 2.5 years. And so what did you do during that time? What kind of contact did you have with your daughter?
I wasn't able to have any contact with her. I would call and he would just say, she doesn't want to talk to you. You know, stop calling and just quit calling, and we don't want to talk to you anymore. And we don't want anything to do with you, and please leave us alone.
And how old was she at this time?
She was still 8.
Okay.
And when she turned 9, you know, of course, same thing.
And where did they go off to at this point?
Okinawa, Japan.
So they went
back
to why did he choose to go back to Japan? Is that where his station
was?
So he wasn't stationed out there?
Yes, he's stationed.
Oh, he was stationed out there.
At Torii Station.
Okay. And so during the 2.5 years, did you talk to your daughter at all?
I talked to her maybe a total of 1 week out of the total 2.5 years. And it was just for a very timed and supervised conversation.
Did you not take him to court at that time and say, although he took her out of the country, I still have some kind of rights?
Yes, but when I had gotten my lawyer, they told me that they had a Soldiers Act, meaning he was exempt from, I guess, going through court and doing stuff like that because he was, number one, a soldier, number two, out of the country. And he was
So
not
he
on
didn't-
American soil, and he knew that we couldn't touch him until he comes back from
So is that why he went to over there?
Yes.
Because if he had stayed here, he knew that you could do something about it.
Yes, exactly.
And so what made him decide to come back?
His duty station was over, and he came back down. And he allowed me to visit with her at that time. Also, they were getting stationed to Alaska. They were in transition to Alaska.
I'm
From
surprised he
Okinawa.
actually let you see her.
And that was
How was that visit?
rare. It was rare, and I got into trouble because I kept her 2 weeks. We hid out for 2 weeks. So, but she wanted to hide out.
And so how'd they find you?
One day we had gone, we had wanted to know why somebody broke into my apartment, and it was the warrant officers that had broken into the apartment. They broke the door down, they broke all the doors and all the locks and all the rooms that I had. And they just ransacked everything, they went through everything, but we weren't there.
Where were you guys staying? At
In
someone else?
hotels and my mother's
Wow.
house, and we have family that lives in ranches, and she just really didn't want to go.
And so how did they end up finding you?
We had gone back to go find out what happened. Why did somebody break
Right.
down our door, and then
And you found out that that's why? And they caught you?
Well, they didn't even tell us anything. I think they were going to call the police. When I turned around, I saw the police leaving. And as we walked out the door to try to get in the car to leave, the officer asked my daughter what was her name, and she said Selena, and that's not her name. But she really didn't want him to find her.
Oh, well, that was sneaky of her, wasn't it? Because I thought she actually was telling her.
She's the one that decided we should hide out, because she really didn't want to go back to her dad. She told me that I don't know what it's like to live with him, and I do know what it's like to live with him. It's never going to change.
And so why did she say you don't know what it's like? I mean, what was she explaining what happened?
Because
What
he's
was it
very
about?
funny. He would lock her in the closet, or at night, he would sometimes lock up the fridge because we were both too fat to be eating in the middle of the night. She would have to sneak food, just to fulfill herself, I mean, she's a child.
That breaks my heart.
He's
Yeah.
just mean.
And so what happened next? Well, let's take a break. We'll come back.
Mothers get full custody 70% of the time, and only 10% of non-custodial dads are considered deadbeat dads.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Again, I'm your host, Jessica Rector. If you're just joining us today, we're talking with Nikki Cortez, who lost custody of her child to her violent ex-husband. Okay, so tell us, after they left for Japan for 2 years, they came back, you got to spend some time with her, you hid out for a little while, and then how did you get caught?
Well,
You went back and then to find out.
I
What
had
happened to
gone
your
back to the
apartment?
apartment, just to find out somebody had broken, it seemed like somebody broke into the house, and there had been a lot of break-ins at that time. And we went down to the leasing office, and as we were walking out of the leasing office, the police passed by,
Mhm.
and they came up to my daughter and asked my daughter what her name was. And she said her name was Selena, and that's not her name. Her name is CX's.
Well, why would that throw up any red flags if she gave a different name?
Because of the car we were trying to get into was the car they were looking for. They gave a description. So that was my car.
And so they took you guys at that.
No, they took her, and they told her that if she doesn't come with them, that I'm gonna have to go with them too, and I'm not coming back out. And they promised her that.
How could somebody do that? So these people are manipulating your daughter as well.
Yes.
And so your daughter went with them.
And my daughter had gone with them, and I didn't see her after that.
And so have you seen her since?
Yes, I've seen her in May. They came back down for the court date, and it was rescheduled. So I got to see her for an hour again.
Wow. And so, okay, so what happened in court when they actually gave custody to your ex-husband?
When they gave custody to him,
Let's start at the beginning. Did you know anything about the judge who was going to try the custody case?
No, that I was told he was a good judge and he was very fair. And
Who told you that?
other judges, other lawyers,
Okay.
you know, and my lawyer told me he was a political judge. And, you know, like he's a politician, I guess, or something in that line. I'm
Right.
not too sure.
And so, do you think your lawyer did the best job he could do?
I believe he did.
Okay, why do you think you lost the custody case?